All right, let's dive deep today into, well, meaning itself.
Sounds intense.
It is. We're looking at David Bohm.
Oh, the physicist.
Yeah, but he gets philosophical too, which is fun. Specifically, an essay of his Meaning and Information. This is part of a bigger collection he did.
Hey, what's the gist?
Well, he's playing with this idea that meaning, maybe it's not just something we make up. Like it could be a real force out there shaping reality itself.
Ooh.
Right. It gets pretty dense, so we're going to try and make sense of it. What do you say?
Let's do it. Where do we start?
Well, Bohm throws out this term, active information, which already sounds different, right?
Because usually we think of information as just like data, passive, it's there.
And he's saying, nope, it's active. It does stuff.
Oh, okay. How so?
He thinks it can shape energy, guide how things act.
So it's not just knowing something, it's what that knowledge makes happen.
Bingo. Like information is the blueprint and the energy is the building material.
Can you give me an example of that? Something concrete.
Sure. Think of like a radio wave, right? Super weak signal.
Yeah.
But that signal's got a form to it. And that form, it tells the receiver, which has way more energy, what to do, turns it into sound.
Ah, okay, I'm kind of seeing it. So it's not the strength, it's the shape that matters.
Exactly. Or think about DNA, that's pure information.
Guiding how a cell builds itself.
Yeah. So this active information thing, it's not just some human invention, it's baked into nature.
Makes sense.
And this is where meaning comes in.
Okay, hit me.
Bohm says meaning and IS, that activity, the stuff that the information sets off.
Whoa. Hold on, so like meaning isn't just this like fluffy thought in our heads, it's a force. It makes things change.
That's what he's arguing, yeah.
Okay, I need an example for this one too, I think.
Easy one. You're walking at night, you see a shadow.
Spooky.
Right. Now, if that shadow to you means danger, what happens?
I tense up, adrenaline, ready to run or something.
Exactly. Your body's reacting.
Yeah.
But if that meaning changes, like you realize, oh, it's just a tree branch.
Then I relax. The activity stops.
See? You're doing meaning all the time. Ever notice how just thinking can make your heart race or whatever?
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it.
That's meaning at work. Now, Bohm gets even wilder, because he then says, forget psychosomatic, there's a better term.
Oh, what is it?
Soma significant.
Soma, like the body, right.
Yep, and it's significant because the point is mind and body, not separate.
They're the same process, just different sides of it.
Exactly. So any physical thing, the soma, has potential meaning.
And that meaning can then trigger more physical stuff.
He calls that signosomatic signal turning into body stuff.
Okay, a lot to unpack there. So it's not just my mind making my body do things. It's a loop, back and forth.
Kind of. Like Bohm talks about how a kid learns to be careful around fire.
Yeah, they figure out hot equals out pretty fast.
But how do they do that?
Yeah.
It's mental images, right? Meaning of danger that guides their actions, keeps them from getting burned.
Interesting. And haven't we all done that kind of thing? Like picturing how to do something to solve a problem.
That's signosomatic, yeah. You're using meaning to guide your actions.
Makes you realize how much we take it for granted. Meaning's woven into everything. And is this where intelligence comes in? Bohm was big on that too, wasn't he?
Big time. He says, real intelligence, it's not about having fixed meanings. It's about seeing new meanings. All the time.
So like being flexible, adaptable.
That's the key. That's how we solve problems, figure out new situations.
This is already blowing my mind, but I know it gets weirder, right?
Oh, yeah. Strap in. Because Bohm takes this meaning stuff.
Yeah.
And he applies it to quantum physics.
Quantum physics. Okay, now I am intrigued. How does meaning fit in with, like, electrons and stuff?
That's the crazy part. He says even electrons, they aren't just these little particles bopping around.
They're responding to meaning.
To the information in their environment, yeah. Even from far away.
But isn't physics all about, like, forces and stuff, not meaning?
That's the old view. Bohm saying there's more to it than that.
Give me an example, please.
Ever heard of the double slit experiment? Super famous.
Vaguely. That's where you shoot electrons at a screen, right?
Through two slits, yeah. And the weird thing is, the electron, it's like it knows about both slits.
Even if it only goes through one.
Exactly. It's affected by the information from both. Like, it's aware of its whole surroundings in a way regular physics can't explain.
So subatomic particles are sensitive to meeting information that's not even directly hitting them.
Wild, right? It points to this, like, wholeness that we don't see in the everyday world.
Imagine if, like, opening this door somehow was affected by whether another door miles away was open too.
It'd be a very different universe. But that's what Bohm's proposing at that quantum level.
I'm going to need a minute to process that. So meaning is affecting tiny stuff. But then doesn't it go the other way too? Like, isn't Bohm saying there are levels to this?
Oh, absolutely. He says this active information guiding the particles,
Hmm.
it might itself be guided by even subtler information, like layers upon layers maybe going on forever, a hierarchy of meaning.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So it's not just that meaning shapes our world. It might be shaping reality at levels we can't even grasp.
That's what Bohm's getting at. It's like opening a Russian nesting doll, and there's just more dolls all the way down. Infinite meaning.
And how does this affect, like, us, our lives?
Well, think about it. If meaning shapes reality this much, then how we communicate, how we share meaning, that becomes super important, right?
Yeah, I guess. But how do we even do that when it seems like everyone's got their own fixed meanings? Bowman talks about dialogue, right?
Dialogue is key, but not like arguing. He means a free flow of meaning between people. That's what we got to figure out.
All right, lead the way. I'm ready to dive deeper into that.
So free flow of meaning, right? That sounds great. But how do we actually get there when it feels like everyone's stuck in their own heads?
It's tough, yeah. Bohm even points out, like, even super smart people, they get trapped by meanings. He uses Julius Caesar as an example.
Caesar, the Roman guy.
Yeah, him. Like, achieved amazing things, but in the end, that drive for power, it kind of took him over.
I guess that makes sense. You see that with historical figures sometimes, right?
Yeah.
They cling to an ideology even when it's clearly not working anymore. Their meaning gets so strong they can't adapt.
Exactly. Bohm compares it to, like, a virus infecting a DNA molecule. Just a tiny bit of wrong info, and the whole system gets messed up.
So it's not just that some meanings are, like, wrong, but they can be actively harmful, like a mental virus spreading.
Whoa, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And we see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Prejudices, ideologies. Anytime people get locked into a way of seeing things that stops them from connecting with others.
It's like we're all walking around with blinders on, only seeing our own little slice of reality.
And just like our bodies have immune systems, right, to fight off real viruses, we need ways to fight off those mental ones, too. Bohm thinks dialogue is a big part of that.
Okay, so how does talking help us fight off bad meanings?
It's about questioning our assumptions, exposing our beliefs to other viewpoints, being willing to let go of meanings that aren't working anymore.
Not about winning an argument, then.
Nope, it's about creating something new together, like that saying the unexamined life is not worth living. It takes guts to really look at your beliefs.
Totally. And sometimes what you find isn't pretty.
True, it can be uncomfortable, but if we want to break free, create something better, gotta do it.
Otherwise, we're stuck with those unexamined meanings running the show, right? Like a computer program we don't even know is there.
Perfect analogy. But once we are aware, we have a choice. Let go of the old and build new meanings. Ones that fit who we are now, what we want to see in the world.
Easier said than done, though, right? Like, it's one thing to know a habit's bad for you, but quitting? That's hard. How do we bridge that gap from awareness to action?
Takes practice, patience, like any skill. The more you pay attention to those meanings, the easier it gets.
So it's like building a mental muscle, the ability to step back and observe your own thoughts without judging them.
Exactly. And there are things that can help. Meditation, mindfulness, even therapy sometimes is about building that awareness.
Makes sense. The more you can do that, the more freedom you have to choose how to react, instead of just like being on autopilot.
And that takes us back to dialogue. If we can make a space where it's safe to share those thoughts without judgment, then maybe we can help each other break down those rigid meanings.
Got to be a two-way street then. Not just me figuring out my stuff, but being open to how you see things.
Exactly. Dialogue isn't about convincing. It's exploring, challenging, transforming. It's listening, really listening, not just to the words, but like to the heart behind them.
Trying to see the world through someone else's eyes, even if I don't always like what I see.
That's where real understanding comes from. You expand your own view by genuinely taking in someone else's, and that, in a way, expands yourself, your being.
Whoa, that's deep. It's like, we're all connected, right?
Yeah.
My meanings are part of this bigger web that includes yours and everyone else's.
And when we tap into that, when we see ourselves as part of something larger, we find meaning and purpose that's way beyond what we could come up with alone.
It's almost like a cosmic dance, this unfolding of meaning and being, always changing, always growing.
Love that image. And it's up to us to choose our steps in that dance.
Okay, but some of us have two left feet. How do we learn those new moves?
Bohm says, say, It starts by letting go of the idea that there's one right way to dance.
Embracing the uncertainty, like we talked
Yeah.
about before.
Exactly. When we're certain, we stop learning. But curiosity, that opens us up to new possibilities, new ways of being.
And that's where the magic happens, right? When you step outside your little bubble and let yourself be changed by something bigger.
Requires connection, though. Communication, sharing those meanings. That's why dialogue is so vital. It's not just passing information around. It's like building a shared space where those meanings can be born, tested, maybe even die out if they need to.
So we're building bridges between each other's little islands of meaning.
And making something bigger in the process.
And if we let go of being right all the time,
Embrace the unknown.
then we open ourselves up to what? Infinite possibility.
Of meaning.
Oh.
Of being. It's exciting and kind of scary, like standing at the edge of a huge ocean, no idea what's out there.
But isn't that what makes it an adventure?
Exactly. That's the good stuff. That openness is what makes life worth living. Letting go of what you think you know, that's how you discover who you really are.
So Bohm saying, the meaning of life, yes, to keep creating meaning. Like to never stop expanding how we understand ourselves and the world.
Never stops, that process. Always more to discover, learn, become. It's a journey, you know? Constant exploration, transformation.
Sounds daunting, but also kinda awesome.
Both. And liberating. Once you realize there's no rule book, no set path, you're free to make your own meanings, blaze your own trail, become the author of your own life.
That's a powerful thought.
It is. And it can change the world.
Because if we all start seeing meaning this way,
Yeah.
seeing ourselves, each other, as part of this web, maybe that's how we heal some of the brokenness out there.
And build a world where dialogue, understanding, compassion, those are the things that matter most.
That's a world I want to be part of. How do we get there, though? From these rigid, fear-based meanings we've got to something more open, more creative. That feels huge. So, big question lingering. How do we do it? Shift from those fear-based meanings, the rigid ones, to something better. Feels impossible sometimes.
Tough, yeah. But Bohm, he says awareness is the first step. Got to see those meanings in action, you know? How they're causing the fear, anxiety, even the fights we have.
Like shining a light on the dark corners of our minds, the stuff we're clinging to, even if it's not doing us any good.
Exactly. Not always fun, facing that stuff, but got to do it if we want to break free, create something new.
Because if we're not even aware of it, it's running the show, right? Like a program in the background, we don't even know it's there.
100%. But once you see it, then you got a choice. Hang on or let go. Build new meanings that actually fit who you are now.
Yeah, that's the part I struggle with. It's like knowing a habit is bad, but still doing it. How do we go from knowing to changing?
Practice. And patience. Lots of it. Like any habit, the more you pay attention, the easier it gets.
So we're building a skill, like a mental muscle. Being able to observe your own thoughts without getting all tangled up in them.
That's it. And there are tools, right? Meditation, mindfulness, even therapy can help build that muscle.
Interesting. So the more we can do that.
The more freedom you have to choose how you react instead of just being on autopilot.
Which brings us back to dialogue, doesn't it? If we can make a space to share that stuff safely, no judgment, no fear, maybe then we can help each other break free.
That's the core of it. Dialogue isn't about convincing. It's exploring, challenging, letting those meanings transform. And it's listening really deeply, not just to words, to the whole person behind them.
Seeing the world through their eyes, even if I don't always like the view.
That's how you get true understanding. Expanding your own view by really taking in someone else's. And that expands you, too.
Man, this keeps getting deeper. It's like, not just that my meanings matter, but they're part of something way bigger. All tied up with yours and everyone else's.
We're connected, all of us. And when you get that, when you feel part of something larger, that's where meaning and purpose come from. That's way beyond anything we could cook up alone.
Beautiful, actually, like this grand dance, all these meanings weaving together.
I love that. And we get to choose our steps.
Some of us are stepping on each other's toes, though, right?
Yeah.
How do we get better at this?
First step, Bohm says, is letting go of that idea that there's one right way to dance.
Embracing the uncertainty, like we talked about before.
Yeah. Certainty shuts us down. Curiosity opens us up to new possibilities, new ways of being.
And that's where the good stuff happens. Stepping outside your comfort zone, letting something bigger change you.
Takes connection, though. Communication, sharing those meanings. That's why dialogue is so important. It's not just info exchange. It's like creating a shared space where meaning can be born, tested,
maybe even die out if it needs to.
Exactly. We're building bridges between our little islands of meaning.
Creating something bigger together.
And if we let go of being right,
Embrace the unknown.
we open up to, well, everything, potentially. It's exciting and a bit scary, like standing at the edge of a vast ocean.
But that's the whole point of an adventure.
Yes, life, isn't it? Letting go of what you think you know and discovering who you really are.
So Bohm's saying, the meaning of life is to keep creating meaning. Never stop learning, growing, changing how we understand ourselves and everything around us.
Never stops, that process. There's always more. To discover, to learn, to become, it's a journey. Exploration and transformation all the way.
Daunting, but also kind of amazing.
Both. Liberating. No rule book, no set path. You're free to make your own meanings, your own way, write your own story.
That's a thought worth holding on to.
It is. And it can change things, truly. If we all started seeing meaning this way, ourselves, each other, as part of this web,
Maybe we could heal some of the brokenness in the world.
build something better. Based on dialogue, understanding, compassion. Those are the things that matter.
That's the world I want to live in.
Me too. And it starts with us. Letting go of the old, rigid stuff.
Yeah.
Embracing the unknown. That's where the real transformation is.
Not waiting for someone else to fix things. We are the change. Each of us with the power to shift those meanings, create new possibilities.
And it starts small, with that willingness to let go, to be curious. That's where the magic happens.
Well, this has been a wild ride. Bohm's ideas, they really make you think. If you want to dive deeper, definitely check out his work. It's mind-blowing stuff.
Keep questioning, keep exploring. The world needs your unique perspective, your way of making meaning. Don't underestimate that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, folks. Until next time, keep those minds open and keep creating.